In the top right-hand corner of Expedition Lost, playing for Team Inf NA, it's Koshkii. And his opponent in the bottom left-hand side playing as a Barcode, but in our hearts we know that this is Nightwarrior. It's Nightwarrior! Hooray! Oh yeah, apparently Nightwarrior isn't actually Diamond, but it's all good. Apparently he's actually secretly a master player. We just hadn't leveled him up hard enough. So, we're looking at PvP, we're looking at what could be considered a rock, paper, scissors matchup. Because it turns out that the sort of prevailing wisdom, as I understand it at least, is that the three basic openers that you can go with are Stargate, Robo, and Twilight Council. If you go to Twilight Council, chances are you're going Blink, or you're going DTs, both of which lose to a Robo build. If you're going Robo, then you end up potentially losing to a Stargate build, and if you're going a Stargate, then you end up losing to Blink from the Twilight. So that's the sort of the rock, paper, scissors meta that seems to be prevalent now. But we'll have to see what happens. As it is, no gas for anyone yet. Fairly normal. We're expecting 15 gases, really. There we go. Although 14 gas... Oh, 15 gas for Koshkii. Do like. Nice. And so the scouts go out and they miss each other because of this crack in the middle of the map. Who, by the way, I think there's actually something interesting in this one somewhere. I have it in my head. I know there's a crack like this where you can look down on something and there's something cool in it, but I can't remember which one it was. Both players getting a reasonable scout off, seeing that there's double gas and triple workers on each gas. Koshkii having seen that. And our Barcode warrior having also seen the double gas and the fact that there's potentially up to 3 workers on each one, but hasn't actually seen them go in. So, the question now is, when will the builds devolve? I say devolve, more diverge than anything else. Well, at some point soon we're probably going to have to keep an eye on where the pylons have been placed. Cybernetics cores are the key buildings, and at some point soon I expect to see a building around here for Koshkii, and probably around about the same for Nightwarrior. Mothership cores coming out for both, but they both still have enough gas to make a tech building. Thing is, they're both still scouting. Koshkii checking out the natural. I'm going to go and sit there. But Nightwarrior has actually been back into the main and checked, and oh, Twilight Council's for everyone! But Nightwarrior has the advantage that his Twilight Council is up a little bit sooner. See ya, Hellmouth. Thanks for watching. So it might be okay. So Blink versus Blink versus Blink. And on a map like this, with an extra entrance into your base, which, by the way, neither player is actually watching at the moment, which I think might come back to bite someone in the neck. It's going to be tricky. Although Nightwarrior has a pylon right here. So Nightwarrior is actually potentially going to be the more aggressive of the two, just because pylon placement is key, and having a proxy up is really useful for when this warp gate finishes, although Nightwarrior is not going Blink at all. Nightwarrior is going Dark Shrine. Dark Shrine versus what in the balls? Okay. And both getting a robotics facility, so it's entirely possible that after all of this, neither player's DTs are going to do any good at all. I don't even. I genuinely don't know what to think at this point. I have to take a moment. I have to take a moment to ponder. It's one of those things where if both players get an observer and leave it at home, then they genuinely don't need to worry about any sort of DT harassment at all, because, yeah, they don't need to. It's not something that's going to happen. If they have any units at all at home, like a Stalker or two, which can kite and kite and kite the DTs. Although DTs are a pretty fast unit. DT versus DT, says Shrine Kali, is rock versus rock. And presumably that is the rock, paper, scissors metaphor, and yes, it is rock versus rock. Potentially you just beat the rocks against each other and then everybody dies. But observers now coming out for both players, because it turns out they don't want to get DT'd to death, and I think that might be a good call, because the Dark Shrines are finishing up right about now. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, the DTs are potentially just going to bounce from both players. Koshkii having detection in his own base and sending out a DT from just here. However, Shrine Kali? No, Shrine Kali's in the chat. Nightwarrior, on the other hand, has got something can send in, and at this point the DTs are basically going to die. And why can't I hear anything? Oh, that's not good. I know I can't hear anything. My headphones have become unplugged. But I don't know why the game stopped. The game has frozen. The game is actually paused. StarCraft is crashing. StarCraft is crashing. Can you see that? You see the little... You can't even see this thing, can you? Okay. So the DT play was so good, it's actually crashed StarCraft. We're going to see if it recovers. Those DTs were so powerful, they have broken the game. So what we're going to do is, we're going to go to an intermission screen. They crushed me, Kali. The Shrine Kali calls it. They crushed me. Huh. Okay. So what we're going to have to do is, we're going to have to kill StarCraft. No. Why? Why, God? Why? And then we're going to get back in, and we're going to try and get back into this map as fast as we possibly can by just basically loading the replay straight up. This is not meant to happen, people. This is not meant to happen. As soon as that comes back, and as soon as Kerrigan's blue veiny face disappears. Authenticating! Authenticating! Yes, there we go. Let's just fire on straight into it. As you can see, diamond on diamond. Oh, Shrine Kali, you're the best, saving the time on the replay that we need to aim for, so we can just ×8 our way through this one. Then you get to see the preparation I do in every game. Bam, 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 bam. Puppy power! Damn you, Blizzard! You would think after the number of times Protoss have gone DT on DT you would be able to deal with this, but no, 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 no. And thus we will rocket our way through the game until we get to the time of 7:25 as provided by Shrine Kali, because Shrine Kali is a bouse. And thus we get to the 5.5 minute mark and the DT shrines are coming down and everything's going a bit wrong. And then we get up to about now. Can I catch it? Oh, so close. So, let's get back into this game, shall we? So the DT's here getting picked off. They'll still get a couple of kills. And also cause a photonoma charge. 6 workers now killed. I wouldn't necessarily say that was totally worth it. Also, where's the observer on this side? Ah, there it is. Yeah, 2 DTs for 6 workers. I can't tell to say it was worth it, but if the observer comes out now to the front, the DT is on its way in. Can it be seen? Can it be seen? Yes, it can. Only if you're watching for the shimmer. Blame it on the shimmer, but there's no observer here, so 1 worker dies. Not worth it though, because only 1 worker is actually going to catch one. Oh, and the force field to deny the escape. Nightwarrior, you're a beast. But immortals on both sides. That means that actually, technically speaking, Nightwarrior is ahead because 2 immortals oftentimes are more than 1. So depending on the engagement, this could turn out to be a bit of a brutal push. I don't know though. Let's see. DT's morphing in, I suspect, for the pure purpose of making them into Archons later, because it doesn't really make any sense to have them. There we go. It doesn't make any sense to have them when you know your opponent has detection, because DTs, while they are super ultra mega powerful in large numbers, and if there's no detection, they're not great if your opponent has detection. I'm just going to say it. So the Dark Shrine very much a sort of a pocket play there. You can't afford to have it go wrong. But 2 immortals, oftentimes more than 1. Remember the days when you could warp immortals in? Yeah, I hate those too. But the push going up the map now. I don't honestly think that Nightwarrior Barcode has enough to take on what's going on here, primarily because The mothership core on the inside of this attack is going to have photon overcharge available, and it does a shit ton of damage. But Pylon has reinforced warp-ins. Colossus now play for both players, but Koshkii is getting that Colossus Shrine, the Robotics Bay up faster. And there's a DT warping in. This is actually one of the ways that DTs can be used in a non-sneaky way. You put them in with your other units. Or, in this case, you send them down to the rocks on the other side, and you knock down the rocks and send them in the back. Like, it's definitely a thing you can do. Yet Shrine Kali in the beta of Wings of Liberty, Immortals could be warped in at pylons. Oh, snap. It's a mirage telling you all it's a DT Zealot attack, which might make you think you don't need to worry about DTs, but you do. Because you see the Zealots, and they make the same sound, so you assume that you're being attacked by Zealots. And you're not. And this warp prism is actually going to get quite a long way in before it gets spotted, and might actually do a ton of damage. Primarily because the Zealots are just so good, and the DTs are even better at worker killing. Although, to be fair, if Koshkii was looking at that and went, ah, I see, yeah, no, I know what you got. He needs to get out of there. Protoss overcharge. Warp Prism comes in, picks him up, the Zealots get killed. And I say killed, I mean, strictly speaking, according to the lore. Oh, the Natural's being threatened, but it's not going down, and double photon overcharge has been pulled, and the recall is there. But Warping Pylon is also there. My phone's running out of battery despite the fact that I've not used it at all today. Scandal. And this pylon being targeted down by the DTs. Because it turns out DTs kill buildings really fast. Thing is, if he does that, he can then pull out. And now there's nothing guarding these rocks, which there is on this side. In fact, they can even see the Tastalope. Tastalope. Gotta love Tastalopes. DTs being warped in defensively because nothing says, oh god, why, like being attacked by DTs while you're in somebody else's base. So yes. Photon cannon coming down because to hell with DTs. Basically that's what that is. What the Hallucinated Phoenix going in for some scouting, and also this pylon has been here for ages. That's pretty shiny, I'm not going to lie to you. Third going up for Nightwarrior because it turns out Nightwarrior knows the principles of macro. And the principles of macro are get more workers than your opponent to a point. And then get more bases. Because once your main starts to mine out, you end up in a bad place. The end of the research for the Colossus range, by the way, which at this stage our red Protoss does not have, which means that the Colossus count presumably is also in favour of... Actually, it's in favour of Koshkii. That's interesting. That is actually quite interesting. Because what that means is that actually Nightwarrior is going to be going into this Colossus on Colossus fight with no numbers advantage at all in terms of Colossus. Maybe Nightwarrior will luck out and it'll be even. But, yeah. By the way, people in the chat saying DTs kill everything really fast. Yeah, it's something to do with the fact that they're doing 50 damage with +1. 50 damage is shot. That means they 8-shot pylons. No, they don't. Yeah, they 8-shot pylons. Jesus. Jesus. The warp-in Koshkii, telling that what prism it can leave now. I still think it would be worth knocking these rocks down anyway. Just because you can. In any case, we're seeing the Natural reinforced. And a third base finally going down for Koshkii, who is actually sizably behind. This base here from Nightwarrior is actually pretty much done. It's not quite fully saturated. It needs another 7 workers on it for that. But yeah, it's pretty much there. And the pylon for the cannon is actually okay position-wise because the DTs attacking it may actually focus the cannon instead. But the pylon... Oh, the pylon finally goes down. You can't kill the rocks because of the cannon, apparently. Oh, is the cannon actually in range to hit the bottom of the ramp? Ooh, I didn't realise that. I thought it wouldn't have enough range to hit things at the bottom. Interesting. Okay, thanks for that, Nightwarrior. Thank you for the knowledge. More DTs warping in for Nightwarrior. Again, I'm wondering whether those are warping in to be defensive or to be Archons later. Because again, we've seen part of the problem is that your opponent having detection means that they just go boom and you're... there we go. The warp-in successful. Aya has sent tribute. Zealot run by, nice idea, not going to happen though. If these zealots go up here, they will basically die. Somehow I managed to damage my elbow so badly that leaning on it hurts. Oh snap! The cannon's not in range of this warp prism. It might be in range of anything the warp prism puts down, but there's a ton of them being warped in. And this is one of the reasons why in subsequent versions of the game they're going to make warp-ins last longer and give you extra damage while you're warping in. And now we see some defensive DTs, because Koshkii likes DTs. Yeah, that didn't last very long, but it forced Koshkii to warp in DTs and then move his army somewhere safe. The thing is, the third could be taken down by Nightwarrior. It's a question of how fast it can be done. If it can be done fast enough that the army can't respond in time, then maybe this could be good, but I don't think it can. I think it might have to involve a pullback, or you could just go straight for it. The Archons at the front taking a lot of damage there, but it looks like the Archons... I don't even know who's winning at this point. I think Nightwarrior is, just because the screen at the front is so much bigger. But the Colossus at the back are now having to fight each other, and a hallucinated Immortal is saving the day. Recall happens, but 2 Colossi do not make it. Oh, that's a painful loss there for Nightwarrior. Oh, that's nasty, that is. If those had managed to get out, they would still have been super useful, but unfortunately 2 Colossus lost at that stage of the game means that you're now down by 3. That's a bad place to be. That requires a second robo, which is why there's a second robo coming up, because catching up in that Colossus count is super mega ultra fudge-coated chocolatey important. But having the third base economy is also good. What I would like to see here actually is Warp Prism do some more, but unfortunately Koshkii has got eyes on it. Koshkii has got an Archon staring right at the damn thing. And a 4th base going up for both players, with small enough a time difference that I don't think it makes any difference. His economy sucked a lot. Yes, it did, because he's 7 workers down, and they're not also potentially distributed that well. Charles Way asking what kind of pizza I should go for. Go for a Quattro Stagioni, my friend. They're well good. So, something Pugwash in the chat saying apparently it's a her. Apparently Koshkii is a she. If that's the case, then I apologise for mispronouncing Koshkii this entire time. Apparently Koshkii is a streamer. In that case, well played, Nightwarrior. You actually managed to potentially beat someone who plays this game for a living. In which case, I apologise to Koshkii. I did not know. Koshkii plays on Twitch. Currently offline, but still. And the third's being aggressed again. Oh no, this is the natural, sorry. While the spoiler attack goes in on the left-hand side, the attack goes in on the natural and will actually be able to kill this off before the army gets back. The DTs are there though, so this army needs to recall super fast. A Colossus still goes down. But yeah, turns out Koshkii, legit streamer. And therefore, I would assume pretty good. Thank you to Pagosh for the correction. The thing is, at this stage, Koshkii's actually in a really good place, Colossus-wise. Having more Colossi is always fun, and having 8 to 5 gives a decided advantage. The thing is, if the Archons can make the difference, if the Archons can buffer, maybe, but the problem is there's more Archons on the outside than the inside still. The Zealots running in and getting basically slaughtered because that's what they're there for at this stage. They're there as a meat shield. I don't honestly see how our Barcode player is actually going to survive this unless the Zealots can make a serious difference in the backline, getting in among the Colossi and just ripping them down. Good God. That was impressive. And now the splash damage definitely favours Barcode Nightwarrior. Oh, shout out to Lupasam in the chat. But yeah, no, that was a superb reversal right there. The Zealot warp in, the late Zealot warp in meant that the units that went in, the Zealots that went in, did a serious amount of damage. And now this run by is basically going to kill off this 4th because there isn't an army to defend it. And Koshkii's actually in a world of pain at this point. The DT being morphed in. I'm not morping things. What's morping? I don't know if this is going to work though. There might actually be enough army to defend. Oh, Cancel! And it's not even cancelled, which means this Colossus will go down as well. The Zealots will all die, but then that is kind of what you expect when you do a run by. And to follow this up, Koshkii is defeated. Oh man. And this ice block here. The ice block that I was like, knock the ice down, didn't even need to be knocked down. And at 4, 12, 45, we will get out of this replay because we've now been going for 4 hours and 12 minutes. Including the time when we had to stop to restart the replay. But that was good. Thanks very much. Bye.